Mr. Allen Henry. Today, I'd like to talk to you of another underrated film that I've just finally had the chance to see, and man, it's about damn time. Oh man, I've been wanting to watch this movie for years, and it's pretty good. It's not what I expected, but I think it's in a good way. And I'm talking about To Live and Die in LA. It's a 1980, was it like 1985? 1985 action crime film, written directed by William Franklin, who sadly passed away. What was that? How long has it been? Like 2 years now since he's been away. But I think this is one of his most still kind of well known, but kind of not so popular of his filmography. I know The Exorcist is considered his most recognizable film, but this one here is pretty awesome. This is To Live and Die in L.A., starring William Dafoe, William Peterson, John Turturro. It's a story basically like any other cop 80s drama. Secret Service agent, his partner gets killed, and he wants to track down the person responsible, who actually is a counterfeiter for was it money laundering? I think he's like a self-employed money counterfeiter who has connections to other crimes, dealing with money. Played by William Dafoe, who's a little bit crazy in this film, and it's a neo-noir action thriller, more story-driven compared to your other crime action movies. And really, I think there's maybe like 2 or 3 action sequences here. The most big one, and probably the most well-known for this kind of movie, is the car chase scene, which is incredibly intense. Man, this car chase scene, I think it's a little unconventional, but it's one of the rare car chase scenes. It's actually, I think it was choreographed by, I think, one of the most well-known. Who was it? There was a stuntman guy who was well-known for, I think this is the same guy who did the Bullet, the well-known Bullet, 1968 Steve McQueen film that also had an iconic car chase sequence. And I think it's... I think it's what do you call it? I think it's listed as one of the most well shot and intense car chase scenes in cinema. But the story with William Peterson as the Secret Service agent, who also has some unconventional and gritty ways to get jobs done, and he goes through. He comes up with unique ways to try to pin down. I think the character's name in the film is Chance. To pin down William Dafoe's character. Was it Masters? Was it Carl Masters or something Masters? Who is assigned with this other guy, this other partner, and he helps him out. Where they have to kind of team up, go undercover a little bit to earn Master's trust, but they kind of do it. The way they kind of do it's a little bit, I wouldn't say it's really the centerpiece of the film. It's really, the way I would describe it is it feels more story driven, and it doesn't really favor screen times, if that makes sense. It escalates around what the characters are doing in the story. So Willem Dafoe has a good amount of screen time. In fact, they showed him quite a bit than what I thought from the film, where you see him doing his thing of earning other bad guys' trust, doing his thing where it comes to making deals with other criminals and trying to hold his stand as a counterfeiter. And you see what his life is like, and it's very interesting to kind of dive into his world of what his character is all about. In fact, it's kind of fascinating where this film goes, because it goes kind of unconventional, and it ends in a way that I didn't expect. But it also feels more realistic and gritty at the same time. It's very intense, especially how the film climax towards the end. It's very, very unexpected, and it actually had me jumping out of my seat. Because you don't know where the film is going to go, and you don't know if these characters are actually going to make it. The car chase scene, man, was so intense, dude. Like, you did not know if these characters were going to make it out. I love that situation in these crime, gritty action thrillers that I don't think you normally... I think a lot of action films don't really... aren't bold enough to constantly pull strings like that. Pull strings where you could play around with the story and kind of figure out where things are going to go and just just go along for the ride. Kind of similar to how his other film, Sorcerer, was, and I really enjoyed Sorcerer. Sorcerer was amazing. I think that just came out in the Crimson Collection, which I would love to get. Man. There's not really a bad thing I would say about this film. This film is currently available on Tubi, and I've been wanting to watch this for such a long time. I will say this, though. Despite how well this film is, how good this movie is, and because of its grittiness, and it might be hard to kind of latch on to really any of the characters. So you're more fascinated how where the story is going and how these characters are going to pull off this mission to try to capture Willem Dafoe's character. It might be a little hard to kind of latch on to any of them because, for the exception, maybe the partner, because to its core, a lot of these people are crooked. And it's interesting to kind of see that aspects of it, just like any other crime film, but, this is back in the 80s, so over time, if you watch a lot of crime films since 1985, you could kind of see and compare where a lot of those movies were inspired by To Live and Die in LA. And it is hard to kind of latch on some of these characters, especially as the film goes on. You see some of the more dirtier things that they have to do or what they're willing to do to seek their goals. And it's hard to be a good person, but there's no excuse. But this car chase scene. And actually, it's actually interesting to see John Turturro is actually in the film, too. To see a young John Turturro doing his thing, man. John Turturro is great. I think he's underrated as an actor, and he's been in the game for such a long time. And, man, seeing him in this film, he was great in here. But William Peterson is great, too. I do know he was mostly active in the 80s, but I'm not too sure if he has done any other film work in the 90s or 2000s. I'll have to look it up, because I remember him from Mindhunter, which is another adaptation of Hannibal Lecter, which he was starred in that. But this film is great, dude. Like, it's one of those crime films where it does play out predictable, but then as the film plays out, it kind of goes in a unpredictable route, and then you don't know where the film is going to conclude, and you don't know how it's going to conclude. And the way it concludes is quite shocking, but not like a FU into the face, but it concludes where you kind of want to be open to it and kind of just go along for the ride. I'm finally glad I had a chance to watch this movie. This movie was great. It's freaking great. To Live and Die in LA. Have you seen it? Comment below. Let me know if you have, and let me know what is your favorite underrated movie, y'all.